What are dreams? Does God give us dreams to tell us things? Is every one of our dreams meaningful? Let's discuss God and dreams and what dreams really mean. And I just want to remind you that the 50th episode is coming up in a couple of weeks, and that I'm going to show a picture of what I think the destroyer is going to look like. So stick around for that one. We are told to strip away church doctrine that's not based on Scripture. Jeremiah prophesies that the Gentiles will come from around the world and confess that they inherited lies, vanities, things with no profit. You think showing up for church each week and punching a time clock's going to do it? No, there's a lot more work than that.
God sent him to me.
I guess that could be true, but take your seat next to me in the pews. This is season 2. Let's go. Okay, let's examine our dreams. Why do we dream? We need to keep our mind running 24 hours a day, full blast. And that was God's creation to do. We never want to shut our minds off. And as a matter of fact, we can't shut our minds off. We think constantly. And here's a little experiment for you to try. Try not thinking. You can block things out of your mind and kind of clear your mind. But you're really still thinking, because in the back, you have a process running that says, don't think anything, don't think anything. And that itself is thinking. So I just want to go into a little bit why God has us dreaming. And some of it is because I think God wants our minds active constantly and never to shut off. And why is that? It means we should always be thinking and always thinking about God. But I'm going to get into some other reasons why we dream also. Before I can truly link dreams to God, I got to look at some other things. And let's look at animals. Do animals dream? Yeah, they do. Cats, dogs, they all dream. My cat will fall into a deep sleep, but only when we're around. And like if we're watching TV, they'll lay on the couch next to you and they'll fall into a deep sleep because they feel that they're safe. They got somebody watching them. Animals watch out for each other. But you hear the cat making noises while they're sleeping, and dogs do the same thing. My wife does the same thing when she's having a scary dream. And this is, kind of an indication that they dream. But what are they dreaming? They're keeping their minds active also, animals, the same way we do. So while we're on this path with animals, do animals remember? We have the ability to remember. We can remember past, like past experiences and past tense. We can remember details of past events. Animals don't really remember any kind of a details. So if you put your cat in a container, one of those carriers, and you bring her to the vet, and the vet does all these probing and pushing and makes it, the cat's life miserable, the cat won't remember the events that happened, but they'll associate a negative experience with that carrier box. It's not that they can recall and say, yeah, if I get in that box, this guy's going to probe me and do this and stick me with a needle. They don't remember that. So that's an important aspect, but yet they do have an associative memory. The reason I bring animals into this mix is I want to show that it's all created by God, because the similarities, they're separate species. They have the same similarities as we do as far as dreams and things like that, which is kind of unusual, because can you picture like a fly dreaming? No. Okay, but I want to associate that to the single creator, because it's like a motorcycle. And you say, well, people who invented a car also invented a motorcycle, very similar, because they have wheels, they're driven by an engine that has a piston that goes up and down and it burns fuel. Even though they're not the same vehicle, like a cat or a dog is different, but they have the same basic components, which tells you that this motorcycle was built on Earth. It wasn't created by itself somewhere else and brought here. So now I want to talk more on dreams. Now that we've made some associations here, let's talk about dreams themselves. Dreams are very unusual because your mind is active, but in order for you not to hurt yourself, because you're not truly conscious, you're sort of unconscious in your sleep state. So your mind, before you can start dreaming, your mind has to disconnect from your body, so that, like, if you're getting chased, your legs aren't kicking and running, trying to do that. Imagine in bed, if you just started trying to run full speed, or start punching, you'd end up hurting yourself. So your mind has to disconnect itself to start dreaming. And it's the same with the animals. Like I talked about my cat making noises, probably, he was being chased, but their muscles are also discontinued. If you notice the pattern I'm saying, that's what shows it's all from the same creator, is because they all have the same traits, like a motorcycle and a car. So let's keep ourselves in God's shoes here and say, okay, we created these dreams. We have to disconnect the motor function. But what else do you have to do? You have to stop the dream when you wake up. And also, even more important than that, is you have to disconnect that dream from your memory. So what does that mean? That means when you wake up, if you don't immediately call that dream to mind, and that at that point you'll remember your dream, but you'll store it as a dream in your memory. Because if you didn't and you remembered all your dreams, you would actually go insane, because you couldn't remember 20 years ago if you actually fell off a cliff or just dreamed you started falling off of a cliff. You'd never know the difference. Your mind would not know what really happened against what didn't happen or what you dreamed. Keeping with the sanity theme, if you noticed, people in your dreams, people that like if I dream and my wife's in my dream, it doesn't really look like her. It looks close, but in your mind, it's her. And these are also done to keep your sanity. So what are dreams anyway? Like, what's the purpose of them? I look at dreams like watching network television. 99% of it, it's just garbage. It's bits and pieces of stories and this and that. And only, maybe 1% of it is like the news, and you can see what's actually going on in the world. And I look at dreams the same way, because God can use dreams to tell us things and make us understand, or let us see what's going to happen. As we know from the episodes in the Bible, where, like especially Joseph, where he interpreted Pharaoh's dream about the 7 years of famine. So all these dreams, not all these dreams have a meaning. Most of it is not, but some of it really is. Okay, let's dive into the 1% that I said that are useful dreams. And it may not even be 1%. I have no clue what it is. It's a tiny fragment. But let's dive into that and see if we can figure out, cryptic dreams and what they mean. Cryptic dreams are important, but we don't have the ability always to interpret them. And that's the good thing. But I think also dreams, for animals, I think they're given dreams to see what's coming in the future. And I think that's part of the reason, not the whole reason, but that's part of the reason why they know events are going to happen, before they happen. If you see the animals get a little nervous, I don't know if they're told in their dreams or they're contacted by another waveform. As if you've seen some of my other videos, I talk kind of about waves. And if they're picking up waves from God directly to tell them about dreams, to tell them about events coming. I just want to read Matthew 2:13. The angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. This was a specific dream for Joseph, because Herod had put an edict out to kill all male children below the age of 2. If the earth was, like the atheists believe, created all the life that was on it, why would there be so many commonalities, so many traits? Like I said, the animals can't remember their dreams. We can't remember our dreams. Why is it like this? Why do we dream? What would be the purpose of having us dream? And if you can answer that question, why then doesn't other creatures dream? Like flies, like I said, insects and these kind of things, they don't. So here, this is the whole thing. God created us the way we are for a specific purpose, and he needs a way to communicate with us. And that's what he does through our dreams. I think I'm just going to wrap it up with, God sends us dreams to warn us of things. And I think as we get close to the end times, the end, the return of the Messiah, I think we're going to have more and more meaningful dreams to, clue us in on what's going to happen and how to protect ourselves. And I think this will be done to the people that are protected and follow Jesus. With that, I'll bring it to a close.